module will introduce the concept of resistance. When we state resistance in these terms, it creates positive and powerful images around it. Someone once said, employee resistance is energy waiting to be released. It is not something to overcome, but something to be worked at for improved results. By the end of this module, learners will be able to define resistance, describe reaction to change, identify the top reasons for resistance, discuss resistance triggers, and present tips to help manage resistance and transform that energy into positive results. Resistance exists in two realms, personal or employees, and in a larger context of organizational culture. Although organizational culture plays an important role in establishing the leadership and infrastructure to support change, we will focus only on employee or personal resistance in this module. Resistance is a force that slows or stops movement. Resistance to change is the action taken by individuals and groups when they perceive a change that is occurring as a threat to them. Key words here are perceive and threat. The threat need not be real or large for resistance to occur. Resistance to change is the act of opposing or struggling with modifications or transformations that alter the status quo in the workplace. At the same time, with a proper introduction and adoption, you can minimize employee resistance to change. Change leaders often think of resistance as bad and something they must overcome. An overcoming resistance mindset works against our ability to build the support and commitment needed for change. We must learn to accept resistance as a normal part of change and work within it. Organizations who are highly effective at change management are 117% more likely to have increased success with initiatives. Change agents and organizations need to become adept in managing change to achieve these kinds of results. An IBM study reports most CEOs consider themselves and their organizations largely ineffective at bringing about change. The change practitioners themselves reported the following change program success rates: 41% fully met objectives, 44% missed at least one objective, 15% missed all objectives or aborted. In all, 59% of change initiatives failed to meet their objectives. Employees do not overtly think about actively resisting a change. It is simply an unconscious desire to retain their current state routine. They know it, it's familiar. It is normal for employees to react to change and experience the emotions and stages displayed in the graphic. Emotions run deep and can be a source of stalling efforts. As you can see in this graphic, employees can bottom out in crisis. In order to move an initiative forward, they need intervention to start them on the way towards acceptance. Often, with appropriate focus and attention, they are able to let go of resistance and move toward acceptance and support. Resistance can occur in senior leaders, managers, and staff. Expecting resistance to change and planning for it from the start of your project helps to manage it for a successful outcome. You can become skilled at addressing resistance. The first step is to identify the source of the resistance. As a change leader, becoming familiar with the reasons for resistance can help move employees to acceptance and confidence in the change. Here are the top 12 reasons for resistance according to one author. 1. Misunderstand the need for change. This is when the reason for the change is unclear. 2. Fear of the unknown. This is one of the most common reasons to resist. Employees must believe that the risk of keeping the status quo is greater than the change's new direction. 3. Lack of competence. Sometimes the change requires changes in skills, which is threatening to some and makes them fear the transition. 4. Connected to the old way. Employees are hardwired to existing processes, often emotionally connected to the old ways. Even if the change makes sense, the emotions run deep. 5. Low trust. Have you ever been the recipient of a change effort that was poorly managed? Such experiences can make it difficult to have confidence that the change will be managed effectively, resulting in resistance. 6. Temporary fad. Often employees doubt that the change will sustain, believing that it could just be another fad that will soon be gone if ignored. 7. Not being consulted. Employees like to know what's going on. They need to be a part of the change, to be heard, to voice opinions and concerns and ideas. 8. Poor communication. It's very important to have a communication plan and system in place. Keep employees informed about the change. 9. Change to routines. Employees like their routines. It makes them feel secure in their jobs. Resistance is natural when we ask them to do their work differently, as this creates an imbalance in their workflow for a period of time. 10. Exhaustion or saturation. There is such a thing as too much change. People can only handle so much. When they reach a change threshold, the result can be burnout and low motivation. 11. Changes the status quo. Employees have perceptions about the impact of the change on themselves and on others. If they feel they'll be worse for the change, it will be hard for them to support it. Or they believe the change favors another department. Then they can resent it. 12. Benefits and rewards. Employees want to see benefits of the change exceed the trouble involved. In addition to these reasons, it is helpful to recognize triggers. There are 3 critical areas that can trigger resistance: content, process, and people. To further explain, content can be a trigger when what is changing is unclear. You may need to explain in different ways for everyone to understand. Process can be a trigger when how the change will be planned, designed, or implemented is unclear. Listen to employee feedback. Seek their ideas and comments on how to handle the change to build trust. People can be a trigger when who are impacted by or participating in the change is unclear. Performing a stakeholder analysis early in the project will help to anticipate this aspect. Get employee feedback on this to ensure it's comprehensive. Any of the previous 12 reasons for resistance will fall into these categories. For example, misunderstanding the need for change or not being consulted equals content or what? Communication plan or low trust or changes to routines equals process or how and who. Fear of the unknown or lack confidence equals people emotional aspects. The key is to anticipate employee resistance and be proactive to communicate with staff on a regular basis. It is counterproductive to ignore resistance and hope it will dissipate. Take action. The following table describes proactive strategies to counter the triggers. Here are a few helpful tips for managing resistance. If content is the trigger, some strategies include: use your charter to communicate about your project, discuss why this specific project was chosen and establish a common goal, allow open dialogue and feedback on the project and the change ideas you are planning to test. If process seems to be the trigger, describe the QI methods and structured approach used, emphasize the need for customer and staff feedback, and change things in small steps and phases using PDSA cycles. If people are the trigger, identify your stakeholders and communicate regularly, create a safe environment and show respect, ask, listen, consider, and act on feedback, talk directly to those who resist the change, involve those affected by the change as part of the team, use PDSAs to show how changes are made in small steps, and create standard work and provide coaching and training. Change is an essential function within a project rather than a role by itself. Managing change is not a separate activity from a project, but rather an integral aspect of the project plan. Placing these strategies in a project or communication plan will assist in managing resistance. Remember to build a foundation to address the change and potential resistance: what, who, why, how, and where. At the beginning of the initiative, employees need to know: what's the change? Explain it. Why the change? Who's affected by the change and who will manage the change? When and where will the change take place? Communicate openly and regularly. Employees will need ongoing communication about the change. They may need to hear the answers to these questions on multiple occasions and will need time to absorb and ponder the change. Ask additional questions and provide feedback and ideas. Get them involved. Listen to resistors. Seek them out to talk. Go and talk to resistors and listen. This is a key strategy. In the end, integration of people is the most valuable component. Respect their needs and genuinely care. In summary, embrace resistance as a positive thing. It truly is part of the process, not separate. Recognize when resistance occurs by identifying the reasons and triggers. Identify ways to resolve resistance and use it to make your process better. Remember to explain the what, where, how, why, and when of the change, and that several iterations may be necessary. Now let's try it. Think about the types of resistance you have encountered. Brainstorm strategies that can help resolve the resistance and turn it into support. How can you encourage others to unleash the energy of resistance to benefit your QI project? If you need additional assistance or to set up a consultation, please contact us at info@improvepartners.org. Thanks for listening.